Make sure to check out my Patreon for exclusive videos never before seen on YouTube. And don't forget to also check out the memberships on my channel page to join and gain access to perks and see videos early. Make sure to click the subscribe button and hit the bell and be notified of new videos. All the support goes to the production of the channel for better content. Now let's get into the video.
After the defeat of Raditz, who has now escaped back to planet Vampa where he finally met his father and mother after so long, and he also met Broly and Paragus for the first time, Bardock would have already sat down and explained everything to Raditz, and I feel like he would have definitely made Raditz see sense of the fact about how Raditz almost killed his brother, which I think that would have gotten a little funny slap from Gine. Raditz knows that he can't really go back since his brother sees him as an enemy. Bardock understands and he says to let him have his destiny, and to just stay out of his son's way and let him stop Frieza when the time comes. But this does change the story. Since Goku never died, he never went to King Kai's world. This also means that they never spoke about the Dragon Balls, and Raditz's scouter never picked it up. This also means that Frieza would have never gone to planet Namek to search for the Dragon Balls, which already changes the future, but Bardock doesn't know it. Bardock would still get visions though of his son fighting Frieza, so he knows that things are going to go right, that one day his son will battle Frieza and defeat him. Now Bardock is still training on his own, and remember, his resources are very limited, so Bardock can't really make too many things. He does have a machine that can make things, but again, it uses a lot of power to do so, and that uses up resources in general. So it's a cycle that Bardock cannot make insane things, but he's still tinkering with stuff, and Bardock still being a Saiyan warrior as he is, he's still keeping his training up. In terms of power levels, Bardock has definitely gotten a lot more powerful over the past years of training. By this point, Bardock has definitely jumped up in power, probably being somewhere in the 50 to 60 thousands. As you guys remember too, Bardock is not exactly training for a goal. He's basically training and just growing stronger, as same with Broly has also gotten stronger as well, because he has somebody like Bardock who's actually skilled to teach him. Raditz would actually begin training, but Broly still uses the shock collar, but I don't think that Bardock would like it, as Bardock thinks it's not wrong to just chain him up and just kind of use a shock collar on him. Bardock actually has a new idea. Bardock would begin teaching Broly how to control his emotions and how to learn to fight it, alongside with Gine, who's a very high nurturing figure, who is kind of like a motherly figure to Broly, who's very gentle towards. And I feel like over the time of training, Broly would be able to start learning how to control his rage, so if Broly ever does act out, he can control it. And Bardock would probably destroy the shock collar by this point, as he doesn't want his comrade Broly to be used like this, as it makes him scared and it doesn't really balance him. Paragus would be against it, but I feel like Paragus would soon kind of deal with it and kind of not make it like a big deal. Raditz would have already had his scouter destroyed by this point since he fought Goku, so there was no actual communication, but Bardock would have double checked his spaceship to make sure that there's no tracking systems or anything, but there wasn't. So everything is good to go. Raditz would then just stay there on planet Vampa and try to help out the best he can. Back on Earth, Raditz did warn about there are two stronger Saiyans that'll probably head in their way. Vegeta and Nappa, would they still head over there? I think they probably would. If Raditz was speaking about a Super Saiyan in their eyes, but then his scouter turned off, then that definitely has piqued their interest, especially Vegeta, as he doesn't believe it's true, but let's go over and see. As he sees that planet Earth is actually a very beautiful and rich planet, it'll be perfect to sell it for the highest bidder and pirate it. So they decide to go over there anyway. Now Frieza knows about this, about the fact that there was a warrior that had golden eyes and blue, but it was just a rumor as it was from a low rank like Raditz, so he actually didn't really believe it. He thought it was just nonsense. But Frieza continued on with his day as he was gonna make sure and see how Vegeta and Nappa handle the planet. If they did take over the planet no problem, then that Super Saiyan thing was just a bullshit move. But if it is real, then he might need to go over there and exterminate it as fast as possible. This is when Vegeta and Nappa would then begin heading to Earth. Now Raditz did warn of them, so this is when the Z Fighters will begin training on their own, to go and train for the next year until the other Saiyans will begin showing up. Now this is when Goku and the others, especially Piccolo, who has now joined them by this point as now he's kind of cool with them, they would all go train at Kami's lookout. This is when Kami would then introduce the hyperbolic time chamber. But there's only so many uses for it, as you have to remember the fact that Popo only has so many resources and it needs time to reset, as it was used for plot-induced purposes. So the Z Fighters would then all go in and they would begin their training. I feel like it would definitely be Goku and Gohan going in by themselves, and then it would be Piccolo going in solo, then it would be the others. But the other Z Fighters, once when they come out, are much more stronger. Some of the Z Fighters could not last the entire time in there because it was too harsh. But once when Goku and Gohan step out, the new power levels are very high. Goku now has a base power level of around 100,000. Piccolo now has a power level of around 40,000. Gohan has a battle power of around 50 to 60,000. You have to remember too that Gohan's potential is still insanely high, as it's the same as it is in the original story. But Gohan's potential is so busted and he has a year to train with his father, Gohan has already surpassed Piccolo. And also too, Piccolo doesn't even have a training partner. If he did train with Goku in there, he would probably be able to keep up a little bit more, maybe being in the 60 to 70,000. And also too, why is Goku not as higher as we thought he was? Since his SLs are higher, why is he not stronger? Well, it's actually because Goku actually took most of the year to actually help train Gohan up. As he knows that Gohan has an insane potential and his rage can help boost his power, he would actually put more effort into training Gohan, getting him, because remember, Gohan's never really fought before. So this is teaching him the absolute basics from the get-go, like how Piccolo did. So Goku would actually be way higher. He'd probably be 250,000 to 300,000 if he actually trained by himself, or he trained with an experienced fighter like Piccolo or Vegeta. So that's the reason why Goku's not as high. But Goku has mastered his Super Saiyan form, as now he would even walk out staying in the form, which would surprise everybody, but Goku states that he was able to master this power and make it his own, making it even stronger. So if Goku has a battle power of around 100,000, if you also add in Super Saiyan, which we know that Mastered Super Saiyan is a little bit stronger, not by a big boost, it's because Goku can utilize the power even more. I would say it's around 55 to 60 times total. This would increase Goku's power by around 6 million, making him much more stronger than he ever was. This already makes Goku stronger than he was on planet Namek before he uses Kaioken, of course. But of course, Goku knows that he probably needs to be stronger, but they will continue training for the next few weeks, as now the Saiyans will be arriving shortly. After a few weeks of time has passed, this is when Vegeta and Nappa would then arrive. As Goku would actually stay in the background, he was still in base form, as he wants to keep Super Saiyan as a backup card. He can already sense how strong they are, and he can sense that they're not really a challenge. This is when Goku would actually step back and let the Earthlings step in. Krillin would actually step up alongside with Tien and Yamcha. This is when Nappa would actually put down and have the Cybermen hatch. But this time around, when the Cybermen would actually jump on Yamcha and self-explode, Yamcha would survive without much of a scratch. These beings of Earthlings are much more stronger than they originally were. With Yamcha, Krillin, and Tien, all of them actually went into the Room of Spirit and Time together, which I know that there is a 2-person limit, but they made exceptions. Bulma helped because of her capsules. And now the Earthlings are actually a lot more stronger than you guys actually think. The Earthlings now have battle powers of around 30,000 each, as they're near the power of Piccolo, 30 to 35,000 total. I would say that Tien is definitely the strongest, having a battle power of around 36,000. Krillin has a battle power of around 35 to 33,000, and Yamcha has a battle power of around 32,000. Yamcha would easily actually use a Spirit Ball and destroy all the 6 Cybermen without much of a sweat at all. This would surprise Vegeta and Nappa, as how are these Earthlings so strong? Goku would then smirk as he was amazed by how strong they'd become in so short time, especially in Spirit and Time, as they've trained harder than ever, as they're not going to be left behind. This is when Tien would actually step up to go fight Vegeta. Krillin would actually step up to go fight Nappa. This is when Nappa would then jump in, start attacking Krillin, but Krillin would then block his fist with his hand easily, as he would then reel his fist back, delivering a powerful punch to Nappa's chest which would blow all his armor off, launching him through multiple pillars, severely wounding Nappa. Vegeta was in utter shock. As he would then begin powering up, he would actually battle Tien, but Tien was far too powerful for Vegeta, as it wasn't even a competition. Vegeta would then state that I guess they overtrained, because now Vegeta's nothing to him. Now Vegeta was growing angry. This is when Vegeta would then jump into the air, and he would then fire a massive attack right at Tien. Now Tien would easily deflect the beam, as this is when Vegeta would then charge up a massive Gallic Gun attack. Now Goku got a little bit worried because of how high of a spike in power he got, well over 30,000, but he's not worried, as this is when Tien, he does have his own Dodon Ray attack, but this is when Tien would then jump in and charge up a Kamehameha. And this is when, if Krillin was ready too, he can jump in at the same time. Remember, the Earthlings are not like Saiyans. If they need to team up, they will. This is when Tien would then battle Vegeta with the Kamehameha versus a Gallic Gun. Now, Tien has his own little version of the Kamehameha wave, but I feel like after training with Yamcha and Krillin, I feel like he would adapt this move pretty quickly. After a massive beam struggle, Vegeta was shocked that he was able to match his Gallic Gun. This was when Tien would then scream and use his full power. His blast would then overtake Vegeta's blast, and it would then hit Vegeta full force, blasting him into space almost. That did use up a lot of energy for Tien, as that was a massive beam struggle. But Tien was alright, he was just a bit winded. This is when Vegeta would still be in the air, he would look around for the moon. This is when Vegeta would then spawn a fake moon, throwing it into the air, where he would then land right back down, and this is when Vegeta would begin to transform. Goku knows what this is, as he's seen it himself, so he looks away from the moon as he doesn't want to turn. But Goku can't really destroy the fake moon since it would just go right through, but now it's too late. Vegeta would then transform into a Great Ape, and his battle power was still around 160,000. This is when Vegeta would then start to attack Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha. But with Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha all having a battle power of over 30,000, they would actually be able to fare pretty well against Vegeta. Having a battle power nearing around 100,000, they would all team up, splitting apart, being faster. As Vegeta is fast for his size, but he's very lumbered, and having 3 beings with a high battle power, they're very strategic. Goku was getting ready to jump in, but Krillin would telepathically talk to him and say that no, only jump in if we are actually going to lose, and I'll let you know. They do have a plan. Tien and Yamcha will distract him, as Krillin would then use a Kienzan and cut off his tail, as Goku states that that is the Saiyan's weakness. They understand, as this is when Yamcha and Tien will barely be able to dodge Vegeta's attacks, as they would then throw Dodon Rays and Spirit Ball at Vegeta, which would then piss him off and distract him. This is when he would actually grab both Yamcha and Tien in his hands and begin crushing them. But before Vegeta was too distracted, he forgot about Krillin, as Krillin would then throw Kienzan, which would then cut off Vegeta's tail. This would then make Vegeta revert back, as both Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin are actually tired. As the Kienzan took a lot of energy for Krillin to use, both Tien and Yamcha are actually wounded from being nearly crushed to death. This is when Vegeta was in base form, but he was still furious. But Vegeta knows to not continue fighting, he's lost, as he can clearly see that Vegeta and the others have not even stepped in yet, and the fact that these 3 Earthlings defeated him, his pride was shot. This is when Krillin was preparing to kill him and Piccolo, but Goku would state no, to let him go. Goku would state that that's Prince Vegeta and he's one of the last Saiyans left alive. We can't just kill him, it's not right. And in reality, he technically hasn't killed anybody. Only Nappa technically killed people, they only destroyed the city. They would actually not really agree with it, but they would then listen to Goku's input since Goku is the top dog anyway. And Vegeta would then crawl back in his space pod and he would then escape. Now what about Nappa? Now since Nappa was actually severely wounded, he was not able to get into his ship. As he was way too wounded, Nappa would actually awaken in the hospital. But of course Goku was standing right there, and Nappa was fuming. As he tried getting up, Goku would then put his hand on his chest and force him back down. Goku would then explain to him that he knows everything about the Saiyan Empire and who Nappa actually is. There are files on him. He would then explain that you are a proud Saiyan warrior, but Vegeta abandoned you and left you. He would then, over time, start to tell Nappa about, look, you can stay on planet Earth as long as you don't kill anyone. And if you do, I will stop you. Nappa would then smirk and state, how can you beat me? But then Goku would then showcase him Super Saiyan right in the hospital. He would then transform, which would then shock Nappa. Nappa is a bit of a coward in a sense too, but he's a bit hot-headed. He would then realize that he's a Super Saiyan, and Nappa would then learn his place. Nappa, I feel like, would kind of like a Vegeta, as he would understand. This is when Nappa, I feel, would definitely stay at Capsule Corp, which would keep a sharp eye on him, as Bulma would tell Goku if Nappa even acts out at all. This is when Nappa would then keep to himself, as he was really irritated that Vegeta would then overcome him. But now, over the next coming weeks, Vegeta would then arrive to Frieza Planet 79, where he would begin healing up. This is when rumor would then spread around about how Vegeta got defeated, and the fact that there is a so-called Super Saiyan on planet Earth, which apparently must have been true. But Vegeta's never going to tell anybody. that he was defeated by 3 Earthlings. He would rather die than tell somebody that. So people assumed that it was a Super Saiyan. This would then get to Frieza, who would actually pull Vegeta to his private quarters, and he would then talk to Vegeta explaining that you lost to planet Earth, so the legend of a Super Saiyan must be true. And Vegeta would actually kind of agree in a sense, and he would say that there was a Saiyan behind everybody, but his battle power was unlike anything he's ever seen before. He couldn't even sense it, but the pressure was immense. And that these 3 Earthlings, or if they're Saiyans or whatever, was so strong that I couldn't even match them. This would actually pique Frieza's interest, as Frieza wants to go see this for himself. Frieza would then say that they'll take their time, but they'll head over to planet Earth to go see what is going on. This is when Goku and them don't really know about it, but they still have Nappa's scouter, as his scouter never blew up. So this is when Bulma would then take it and kind of change the language and everything to where now she's able to actually hear communications between everybody. She would actually learn, alongside with the help of Nappa. Nappa have actually calmed down a lot over the past couple of weeks. Nappa's not really a bad dude in a sense, but he is. He's just a warrior who was told to do everything by Vegeta. But now that Vegeta's actually out of the picture, he actually has a new sense of freedom. So Nappa would actually live in Capsule Corp, and he would definitely behave and not cause any problems. He doesn't want to be a puppet anymore. He wants to be his own warrior. He doesn't just want to be like a mindless brute that's just stringed up like a puppet. This is when he would actually begin training at Capsule Corp, as Bulma actually still has the idea. Bulma would actually bring Goku to them, as Goku would then greet Nappa just like before. Bulma would then look at the old artifacts that Bardock has left them, and look at the fact that there was the gravity training device. She would actually finish it, as it was still a very early project, but she started tinkering with it recently. She would then actually showcase Goku the gravity room in Capsule Corp, as it was actually able to go up to 300 to 400 times gravity at maximum. And there was also robots inside that as well that can fire beams of attacks so Goku can dodge. This is also when she would then explain that there was a powerful being called Frieza heading this way through Nappa's scouter. This would then make Goku serious, as he understands, and he asks if he can stay at Capsule Corp for a little while. But Goku would not be staying at Chi-Chi's house, he would actually be staying at Capsule Corp, and Gohan can come by as much as he can, as Chi-Chi wants to still hold him back because of studying, but Goku would explain to Chi-Chi that this is beyond what she understands, the fact that Frieza can destroy the entire world, and that he was being dead serious with Chi-Chi. He then states that he'll stay at Bulma's, which actually has the best research and library possible. This would then persuade Chi-Chi to let him stay, and go. This is when Goku would then arrive, as Piccolo is there as well, as this is when Nappa would then jump in and say that he's always wanted to punch Frieza right in the face. He would then explain that he'll help them, and he wants to use that gravity room for himself. Frieza would be arriving within the next few months, as it would still take some time for Frieza to show up to planet Earth since it was so far away. Namex even further, they have a few months to train. After a few months of training, this is when the big change is going to occur. With the few months of training, Goku using it actually the most, their battle powers will jump drastically. And as well, with Nappa's help, they would actually learn to be able to use a healing chamber. They already do have sensu beans just like before, but with the space pods, and even of Nappa's knowledge of the healing chamber, Bulma was actually able to replicate it over the past few months and actually create the goo that was actually able to heal you. So after testing it, as Bulma would actually even cut herself on her hand and then put it into the healing goo, as over the next couple minutes, it would actually heal away. And it would actually work. As with Nappa's help, as he knows about the Saiyan healing pods, they would then create one, and it was the prototype, but it would actually work, as once when Goku was actually wounded during heavy training, he would then step in with the breathing mask and everything else, following his vitals. He would then be healed up within the next hour or less, as this was an incredible discovery. You can heal almost any injury, and on top of this, you can even heal quickly from injuries and recover faster. This is when over the next couple months of training, Goku and Nappa would actually become a bit of a closer friends, as they would even be called an ally. Nappa actually relates to Piccolo a lot, as him and Piccolo put aside their differences and they actually become good allies and they trust each other. Nappa has earned a lot of people's trust, some, but Nappa's definitely shown that he's definitely changed, as he helps around with Bulma, doesn't cause any harm, and he is actually well-mannered. He does get hot-headed easily, but other than that, ever since leaving Vegeta's side, he kind of has a new sense of freedom. This is when they would continue training. Goku by himself was able to push the gravity all the way up to 200 times gravity, pushing himself further than he's ever been pushed before.
As the few months would then pass, they would all then arrive as soon Frieza was going to be arriving within a few hours. Vegeta would actually arrive early. As he actually beat Frieza to it, he would then see the Z Fighters and he would scowl at them, as they would then wonder why Vegeta's here. Vegeta would then actually warn them about how Frieza's soon going to be arriving, and he would explain that he doesn't really care to help them at all, he actually wants to join in on their fight. Vegeta still does not know about the Dragon Balls, just to let you guys know, so he doesn't really have a second plan to wish for any immortality. Not even Frieza knows about them either, and the Z Fighters know about this as Goku's not an idiot. He knows that if they know about the Dragon Balls, that can be deadly. The Dragon Balls are scattered all around, and they won't really be able to find them anytime soon. This is definitely when we are going to now have Frieza soon arriving. Once when Frieza does arrive, the Ginyu Force would actually be there as well, as a lot of his men will be there so they can scout over the planet and take care of any issue. Now in terms of power levels, how strong have they gotten? Goku actually has a new power level of around 12 million, which I know, it sounds overkill, but you have to understand that Goku was training the next few months getting Zenkais and training at 200 times gravity with other people as well. Nappa's power level has seen a massive jump, going from 4,000 all the way up to actually 100,000, making him way stronger than he was before, training under the new gravity and also having a person like Goku. Piccolo is stronger than Nappa, having around 200 to 250,000. Gohan has a battle power of around 100,000. As remember, Goku promised to keep studying up, but Gohan would keep on training a little bit more, growing stronger. Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin actually have a battle power of around 100,000 as well, so they've actually grown a lot more powerful. Once when the Ginyu Force would actually arrive, Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien would actually go fight Burter, Jason, Recoome, and Guldo, and they would easily defeat Guldo and easily defeat Jason Burter, similar to how Goku actually did, within a few punches, and easily dodging Jason Burter's duo. This is when Captain Ginyu does show up, he would start to overpower them single-handedly, until Tien and Yamcha would then team up and begin attacking them. This is when Captain Ginyu would see how strong they are, but he would not use the Change Now technique because they are weaker than him. So, with them both teaming up, Yamcha would then jump in, all three of them teaming up on Captain Ginyu as a slaughter. They would have a battle power of 300,000 teaming up, and they would have easily defeated him. With Captain Ginyu now being completely destroyed by all three of them firing a single blast, this is when now we're going to cut towards Piccolo. Piccolo would then see Frieza then step out. As Frieza stepping out, he would be surprised that these Earthlings are able to defeat the Ginyu Force. He would give them one chance, offering them to join him as they can live like gods, but of course they would all decline it immediately. This is when Nappa would then actually attack Frieza first. Nappa would then power up to his full strength, as Nappa would then run towards Frieza and actually lock hands with Frieza, actually doing okay against this version of Frieza. Frieza was shocked that the Saiyan had a battle power of over 100,000, but with his tail he would then hit Nappa away pretty easily. Vegeta was utterly shocked with how strong Nappa became. Vegeta has a battle power of around 30,000, just to let people clarify, as it's similar to him and Namek, but it was still incredible how strong Nappa became. Piccolo would then step up, and he would actually begin fighting Frieza a lot better. After removing his weighted clothing, his battle power would actually go up to 500,000. Piccolo has actually gotten the biggest boost in power, as you need to understand that Piccolo has actually been training with Goku more than anybody else. True, Nappa's been training as well, but Goku didn't really trust him as much as he trusts Piccolo and Gohan and the others. But Piccolo would begin fighting Frieza, and he would actually be able to keep up and overpower the Emperor, which would shock Frieza. This is when Frieza, out of desperation, would then transform into his second form. After transforming, he would then begin overpowering Piccolo pretty easily. This is when, before he would even kill Piccolo, this is when Goku would then grab Frieza's hand, twisting his wrist back and then punching Frieza through his ship. Making a large hole out of it, Frieza would then step out, as now he was in his third form, in anger. He would then fire death beams, but Goku would easily block all of them, as he would tell them to get far away from here, as the landscape was nice and open and there was no plants or animals or people around. They would all get as far away as possible, as Goku would begin fighting third form Frieza, easily overpowering the Emperor. Whatever Frieza did, Goku was easily able to dodge these attacks. Frieza would then explain to Goku that your power is incredible, you are the Super Saiyan, it must be true. This is when Frieza would then go into his final form. This is where the fight takes a different turn, as even though Frieza was still holding back, Goku would still fare a lot better than he did on Planet Namek. Thus he was being many times stronger than he was before. Frieza was starting to be on the losing end.
This is when Frieza would then showcase 50% of his power, and he would start to overpower Goku. Once when Frieza would then attack Goku through a mountain range, he would then deliver powerful punches to his stomach, making Goku spit a little bit of blood. As Frieza was laughing as he states that, "As you can see, my power is unmatched." Frieza's starting to lose a little bit of his sanity now, as the fact that he knows that there's a Saiyan that strong, and he gets a little bit iffy. This was when Goku would then grab his fist, as Goku's aura would begin glowing a golden color. Vegeta would then be staring in shock, as Goku's hair would then rise up, his eyes would turn blue. This is when Goku then transforms into a Super Saiyan. Frieza was utterly shocked. Goku's battle power is 600 million. Frieza has no chance of defeating this version of Goku. This is when Frieza would then try to attack Goku with everything that he has. But Goku is 5 times stronger than Frieza in this what if. Even if Frieza went to his full power, which Goku would actually tell him to, when Frieza bulks up, he would begin attacking Goku, but his punches are doing nothing to him. Each punch would then just irritate Goku even more, as it wasn't even making him flinch. Goku would then give Frieza the cooler treatment and fly in, delivering a powerful gut punch to Frieza, which would then make him reel back. This is when Frieza would then fire a massive telekinesis attack, which would actually shove Goku back to the mountain. When Goku steps back up, Frieza has charged a massive supernova. This is when Frieza would then throw it right at Goku, but Goku would easily catch it and he would then punch it into the air. This is when Goku would then fly in full speed. As Frieza's running out of options, he would actually try using a death ball, summoning it as quickly as he could to try and destroy the planet, but it was too slow, as Goku would then fly in, charging up a full power Kamehameha wave, hitting Frieza, blasting him completely out of existence. Now that Frieza was now defeated, and peace was finally brought back to Earth, the Z-Fighters would all celebrate. Vegeta would still stay on planet Earth. As he knows that there's nowhere else for him to go, he would then stay at Capsule Corp, and this is when he would start to have a relationship with Bulma, as it was a few months late, but it doesn't really matter. This is also when the biggest change is going to occur. Bardock, from his radio signals, would then hear that Frieza was killed by a Super Saiyan. Bardock would then cheer for his son, and state that it's time. This is when Bardock, Gine, and his friends would pack up everything that they have, as Broly would not mind staying on planet Vampa as it's his home, but Paragus would then tell him it's time to leave, son. They would all then leave to head right to planet Earth, as they still have the ship just like before, but over the past 20 plus years, Bardock has been building on it, and making the ship larger to where it can fit everybody. And with the help of Raditz's ship, who he would just take his own space pod and just follow them right behind them, they would then all leave heading towards planet Earth. This is when Goku would then begin training, as he was back home with Gohan and the others. This is when the biggest change is going to occur. As this is within the next couple months, this is when Bardock would then land on planet Earth, as Goku would be confused to see who this was. There was a man that looks just like him, but then he realizes. Bardock would then walk up to Goku, he would then put his hand on his shoulder and tell him, "Son, we have a lot to catch up on." Gine would then step out, as she would then see tears, seeing her son, her little baby, her child, is now a full-grown man. She would then hug her son with everything. This is when Bardock would then tell his son that, "I'm his father, this is your mother," and Raditz would then step out, as Goku would have a little frown towards Raditz, but Raditz would then bow to Goku and apologize for everything that he's done, and the fact that he stayed with his parents the whole time and he apologized. This is when he would also meet Broly and Paragus. As with Broly and Paragus actually here, this is when Goku would actually like Broly a lot. He senses incredible power within Broly. He would then invite them in, as they would then meet Chi-Chi and his son Gohan. Bardock was actually kind of interested. A halfling with the earthling. That would definitely increase the power scaling a lot, wouldn't it? Now after this was done, this is when Bardock would then tell his son that they have a lot to catch up on, and that he's so proud that he defeated Frieza. And that is it for this What If, you guys. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think for part 2. Remember, if this video gets to 300 likes, I shall continue it on to the next part. But anyway, thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers, and I'll talk to you all later.